Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new show this week. All kind of great stuff. I'm back in the studio. Last weekend, I was actually out of town. Took our top two agents to Atlantis and celebrated them and their awesome success in serving so many clients last year. So very, very grateful for that. But back in the studio and huge news. The market is back on fire again. Over $200 million in real estate sold here in the last 7 days, or at least went under contract in the last 7 days, which is close to numbers we haven't seen like 37, 38 weeks. Really back to mid last year, the market was hot. We had a terrible fourth quarter in terms of new sales, down almost 50% for most of the last couple months. And so we're seeing a great resurgence, and that's a combination of just a new year, pent up demand from people who were just kind of frozen during the holidays. And also rates back down. Huge news this week in terms of mortgage interest rates back into the fives. We had the 30-year fixed rate back into the 5%. They were high fives, but they were below 6 across the board, which is awesome. News in that. We'll go over the brand new market numbers. We actually saw a decline in prices last month, which is something we knew we'd probably see. As I mentioned in previous shows, that price is always a lagging indicator, and you see sales down, 48, 50, 52% for 2 or 3 months in a row. You're going to have to see some softening of price. We'll talk about what those numbers look like, what's going on overall with that. And the other thing that we're seeing, though, I'm hearing this all across the country right now through my mastermind groups and all the coaching groups I'm part of. That the typical spring market is here early this year, right? You're seeing a lot of buyers who were sitting on the sidelines. They saw rates go down. They're jumping earlier. So much pent up demand from back during the holidays that we saw. And I've been doing this a very, very long time, almost 20 years, doing this show, I think 13 or 14 years. And we're seeing a lot earlier, really, I guess you say, movement than we've seen in past, where typically people most tend to wait to the spring. Right now, we're seeing that happen a lot earlier into February. Also, some amazing, amazing success stories. I bought a home this week. My team, actually, a company bought a home this week from someone who was actually want to be a part of our instant offer program. It's a Navy SEAL and his wife, former Navy SEAL and his wife. Very, very excited and proud about that. I'll tell their story, how they just wanted to opt for an instant offer instead of going through the hassle of putting the property in the market, having showings, having negotiations. Got an instant offer, a fair price instantly. In the first meeting, able to close 2 weeks later. We'll talk about that. Also, some other amazing success stories from our team. And one thing we'll talk about that's really some great, great data nationally. This says historic amounts of buyers are currently sitting on the sidelines, and it has to do with population growth. And I'll share kind of the difference between what was going on in 2008, 2007, 8, 9, 10 versus what's happening now. And the reality is just millions of more people that need to find a home. We'll talk about here on today's show.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. Especially if it's the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seen him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends with Morning Show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and I made a promise to myself years ago, just after seeing so many horror story after horror story after horror story happen. And I still see it every single week. Even the people I was just talking about, we bought their property out. They had one prior to us, and you just see this happen where people make this massive mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. That could not be any further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing you want is someone who is just a brand new attorney who's only tried a few cases, but your friend recommended you to them. And you want to give them a tryout, right? You don't just try them out. You don't just see who's the cheapest attorney. You want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law. And you should demand that same level of excellence in your largest assets, which is real estate, right? And so they don't understand that the nuances in selling and buying. There are so many places to make mistakes and things that make or break. And just like any doctor, like I mentioned, I have 2 different dermatologists. Some get some, the others don't, right? And I go to 2 different ones because I had someone prior miss something on me. And so there's so many different things when it comes to a service-based business that who you use matters all the way down to the minute details. And so the reality is what most people don't realize is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent that you choose, period, right? Not your wall color, not the grass quality, not the time in which you sell your property. It has to do with the agent you have, and specifically, how does the agent you have actually execute? And what you don't realize is behind the scenes, that agent is so busy, they have good intentions to execute, but they're not actually executing hardly anything at all. They're just taking your property, they're putting it to the MLS, and then they're praying that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're just trying to pay rent for next month or the mortgage payment next month and trying to get a new client. And so that ends up hurting you, the home seller, because you're not really versed in understanding how many things go into the home sale, and specifically 118 different things. So basically from A to Z in getting property sold, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. And so if each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, and that could be anything from, does your agent answer the telephone? If a buyer submits a web lead online, how long does it take them to respond? If they even do respond, right? Do they have a for sale sign? What's the quality of their photos? What's the order of the photos in which they put them online? Because that makes or breaks the buyer conversion looking at your website online. And so there's so many pieces of that puzzle that make or break the home sale. And so you want to make sure you have someone who can proactively manage those. And the problem is just simply impossible for one single agent to juggle all the balls at the same time. How do I know that? Because I was there, right? I grew up in the business. My whole family sold real estate. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma. They always did pretty decent. But I got into the business. I had been a huge student of business, and I looked at what people did outside of real estate and said, look, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I sought out coaches and mentors and people that were in the industries outside of real estate, and we built a system that's proven and repeatable, that creates maximum leverage for our clients, but it allows us to control those variables so we can give our client one thing at the end. And that thing is a competitive advantage. So the system I designed is called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. It's tested, it's proven. We back it up with two main things. So we back it up with a team of people and also technology so we can manage those variables. And so what you don't realize is that most agents operate as one single being, or maybe a husband and wife if you're lucky. And what happens is you have one single person trying to juggle all the balls. Well, it's just impossible for one person to juggle all the balls on one listing, much less 5, 10, or 15, 20 of those. And so what happens is the squeaky wheel gets the grease and your property doesn't sell, or if it sells, it doesn't sell for the most amount of money that it could. And it's just like same person at McDonald's, right? They're working the front register, the draft, and the French fries at the same time. Your experience is not going to be that great, but you can't figure out why you had a very crappy experience when you use your friend's friend who's a realtor who you wanted the cheapest one. And so you have to have someone who has a proven, repeatable system with technology and people who can manage all those variables that give you the advantage you need. And that's exactly what our system does. On the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. It's hard, especially right now with low inventory. Even though sales are down a little bit, still very difficult. You need someone who's very, very good at what they do. And I see horror story. If we had a contract today on one of our investment properties, realtor sent over the paperwork, and you could tell he had no clue what he's doing because the contract wasn't even filled out correctly. This lady he's helping is in West Virginia. She has no clue he has doesn't know what he's doing. Gives a closing for like 67 days, and we're like, hey, why do you need to close in 67 days? Like, I don't know. She lives in West Virginia, and we're like, well, that doesn't mean anything. She could close in 20 days if she lives in West Virginia. And the problem is he didn't even know what he's doing. And this person there doesn't even know that. And so this happens over and over and over again. And that's just today. And so the reality is that system there, the unfair advantage home buying system, it really gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you all the way to that closing table successfully with the most amount of money in your pocket. And so if you want to know more how that works or either one of those, reach out to me, call me. I share that in this show for any listeners. I know we hear it every week, but I made a promise because I see so many horror stories, just like the one today, where someone's represented by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And this is not a Best Buy TV here you're buying, right? You're buying a large asset, and you got a dude that can't even fill out the contract. You're already setting yourself up for failure. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. Be right back.
If you're in the market to buy or sell a home right now, every detail means dollars, and who you hire to negotiate your home, that really matters. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor who invests in real estate all across the great country of ours, I want the best negotiator representing my interests. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. They can help you navigate through multiple cash offers, and more importantly, he has turned complicated situations into 5-star reviews. Now check out his rave reviews on Google. Talk to him yourself. If you are on trial with big money at stake, you would want a seasoned negotiator with thousands of victories if they will take you on and you can afford them, right? Well, your home deserves the best representation. Know your options, see how much demand your home can command in this market right now, and get the best representation that you deserve. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Portman. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options for home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers that time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take capture at home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get the home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update, and it's wild right now. Let's talk about. I watch this every day. In the last I'd say 2 weeks, I've been like super excited because I'm not gonna lie. In December, it was getting a little scary out there. Like if you go back to just like we track this, right? We have two types of numbers for any new listeners. What's on the show? We track two types of numbers. We type the rear view mirror numbers, and that's like what everyone uses. That's what closed last month, what closed the month before that. Those are closed deals. The problem with that is that doesn't give you real-time data because the ones that closed last month, they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior. And so you want the real-time data like right now. And so that's what we track in my office every single day. We talk about our morning huddle every morning. And so it just helps us keep track of what's going on so I can help guide our clients based on the pulse of the market in real time. And here's what's wild. So if you go back to 12:30, and that was our show on 12:30. There was 206 properties under contract for $63 million, which is not a lot at all. There's only one property over $1 million, 26 properties over 500. If you go to the last show up in Realty out of town last weekend, but right now, if you go to 2 weeks ago, which was 121, 480 properties under contract for 175 million, which is not a lot, right? I mean, it's better than it was. You go back to 17 show, 364 under contract for 125 million. So you saw it slowly go up, right? So first week of the year, you saw 125 million, then it went to 175. Check this out. Last week, the last 7 days, as of today, 607 properties under contract for a 26.46% increase in 2 weeks. So we saw a 26% increase in just 2 weeks. But here's the crazy part: $211,427,875. So a 20% increase in volume, which is awesome. So just in a matter of 2 weeks, went from 175 million under contract in a 7-day period to seeing right now 211 million under contract in a 7-day period, which is amazing, right? Huge jump from where we were even back in. If you go back to just 1028, back in October, 150,445,000. So these are back to numbers we're seeing really about 37 weeks ago. If you go back 36 weeks ago, there was 690 under contract for 215 million. Right now, we're at 211 million. So what that means is that spring market is here early. And I'm hearing my friends across the country saying this. And part of that's we're seeing this buyer demand that's been pent up since rates rose. They've been on the sidelines, been waiting. They're eager. They have to buy. They need to buy. They're trying to find something. The problem is the housing crisis of the shortage has not been fixed. And so we're still seeing a 5 million unit home shortage right now, which is really driving this. So here you go. Active homes back down. So 2 weeks ago, there was 890 active single family properties. Right now, 870. So down 20, because as you see sales go up 20%, obviously you're going to see that inventory go down. It's not equal. It's not down 20% because you're also seeing a lot of people put their property in the market first of the year. And so we're seeing that continually right now. Here's the great news. So right now, this last 7 days, 14 properties over $1 million went under contract. Check this out. 55.56% increase just in 2 weeks. So lots of big money moving in Myrtle Beach right now. We've seen on my team, a lot of big investors we've been dealing with, even hedge fund guys we've been dealing with out there as well. And also 95 properties over 500,000, where check this out. Last week's show, there's only 9 properties over 1 million and 69 properties over 500,000. Right now, 95 over 500,000, which is a 37% increase, and 14 over 1 million, which is a 55% increase. And so big time news. You're going to see a jump in prices here very soon. If I'm a home seller, what that means is I want to take advantage now. Do not wait to the spring. No one cares if your grass is really green because buyers need houses right now. These are spring numbers we're seeing right now. And here's the thing. I'm not sure how long this window is going to last. I'm not sure how rates are going to stay back low. They've already jumped back up a little bit, and I'll talk about that here in a few seconds. And so that's very, very exciting news. Our team's been working around the clock, trying to keep up and really making sure that we can take advantage of this really pulse of adrenaline to the marketplace, so that we can really help our sellers get their properties sold for the most amount of money, and obviously help buyers from all across the globe who are coming here right now, especially in Myrtle Beach, because we're seeing investors right now because it's still very affordable in terms of ROI. You're able to get some decent ROI where a lot of places are just overpriced, and Myrtle Beach is still not quite there yet. And so very, very good news here for home sellers. If you're thinking about selling, don't wait too long. Take advantage of this right now. If you see numbers, right, where sales jump up in 2 weeks alone, 26% in the amount of properties sold and 20% in the volume sold, that's very, very significant. And so that's just something to keep in mind as well. Looking at really quick at the brand new rear view mirror numbers. They're not, remember, they're based on data that closed last month when under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. And so you're talking 30 to 90 days prior. So check this out. Closed sales last month. Look at that, down 34.7% from the same month last year. And so if you look at January 2023 versus January 2022, you're seeing a decline of 34.7%, with 313 single family properties sold. Now, here's the crazy part. You go back to March of 2022, which was the highest month of the year, there were 703. Last month, you only saw 313. I think you'll see that jump up this month once the final numbers come in, just based on what we've seen since the first of the year. We saw it had a big hedge fund guy who might be listening to this. Big shout out to him, who looked to buy a bunch of new construction properties. Here he's been buying D.R. Horton, Lennar properties across the country right now. And what happened is the big builders are freaking out in November, December, selling properties to investors in bulk for very, very good deals. And he was doing this here on the East Coast. What happened, though, is in the first 2 weeks of January, sales were through the roof, and all of a sudden the builders got a lot more confident, didn't want to come off the price as much. And so that's just something you're seeing really across the board, because buyers jump back off the fence. And so I do think we'll see those numbers move back up overall. Sales price declined from the first times in 1, 2, 3 straight months of increase, and it finally declined last month. So last month, the overall median sales price was $350,500. It's down from the December price, which is $368,500, and so $18,000 difference. It dropped down, which is interesting because if you go back to September, it's $345, October $360, November $361, December $368, and it dropped back down in January to $350. Now, the reason that is because price is always a lagging indicator. You heard me talk about this on this show for years. And so if you see 2 and 3 straight months of sales down 42 to 52%, you have to see some softening of price, which is why I talked about that in our previous shows. Specifically last month, we talked about numbers. And so I do think you'll see that bump back up. From a home seller, I want to tee it up at the right time. Right now is a great time to tee your house up because inventory is still very low. Buyers are jumping back in because rates have gone back down. So you're going to see that affect the seasonal market a lot early this year, where usually weather is what really changed it. But right now, interest rates are what driving the overall game. So average sale price, pretty much flat, which is good. Right now, $449,000 for a single family resale home. It was $449,000, $476 in December, $449,000, $379 in January. So pretty much flat, which is good news. Overall holding up, but you do see median usually adjust a little faster, and it did about $18,000. So that's overall there. Months of supply, pretty much flat. 2.4 months inventory right now. It's the same exact thing it was in December. The reason you're seeing that is you saw a 20% increase in sales really in January, but also right now you've seen a lot more people put their house in the market because what they tend to do is hold off during the holidays. We struggle with that as a real estate company. We have people who are ready to go. They always say, hey, wait to the first of the year. And so they did that. But what happened is sales also came back as well, which is great news out there for home sales because it's keeping that inventory tight. And so it's 140% increase from the same time last year, where there's very, very record low inventory. So you go back to just January last year's 1 month inventory. Right now it's 2.4. It is still, though, a super seller's market. Anything below 6 months is a seller's market, which is like an equal market. Anything above 6 months is a buyer's market. And so you're only at 2.4 months right now, which means sellers are still in the driver's seat because there's just not any inventory out there right now in terms of what's going on. So great news over there overall in terms of that. Showings are up tremendously. And so the average showings in December was 3.2 showings per listing. It jumped up in January, 4.7 showings per listing. And I think you'll see that continue to climb right now as rates have dropped back down. And so it is kind of a rate-driven marketplace right now. We'll kind of watch that and see what happens day by day. You watch buyers who sit on the sidelines, rates go down, they jump back in based on their affordability and their threshold of really how much they're able to buy. And I do think that anything below 6%, you see a tremendous amount of buyers jump back in the game. Overall, condo sales last month down 47.3% from the same time last year. We've seen that decline really all the way since March of last year. March, you saw 804 condos sold in 1 month for resales. Last month, 302. So significant, decline in terms of overall condos you're seeing there in terms of sales. Price though, holding off pretty good, which is good because inventory is still low. Median price last month was up just a little bit. It's up 17.9% from the previous year. But the month before that, it was 225,000. In January, 229,900, which is great news. Those properties are still holding on tight because of such very tight inventory. Overall average sale price up 17.4% at $268,282. Great news overall. Into supply. Supply is up 228% from the same time last year. If you go back to January of last year, it's only 0.7 months inventory. Right now, it's 2.3 months inventory, which is still a super seller's market. And so it's interesting times right now. I've been doing the show for a long time, and it's really kind of a little worrisome for everybody across the country in November, December, when sales were just very, very, very slow. We were seeing 50% decrease in sales across the board. Right now, you're seeing really some gas on the fire, and we're really seeing that explode. And so what's driving that? Interest rates. Right now, interest rates up a little bit from Thursday. Thursday, they got to 5.99%, which is a new kind of recent record in the last really couple months, which is great news. That came after really that announcement from the Fed. And so right now, 30-year fixed rate, 6.19%. It's up 0.2%. From the previous day, which is still great news because everything else is in the fives. 15-year fixed rate right now, 5.30%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 5.75%. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 6.38%. A 30-year FHA, 5.62%. And a 30-year VA loan, 5.65%. So the gas has been put on the fire. I think we'll probably see rates bounce around here a little bit, maybe go down a little bit more, which is great news there. And so we'll keep watching that. But the overall really feeling is if you're a home seller, the seller's market's coming earlier this year. The spring market's coming early this year. And so if you want to know more, reach out, call me. We'll be happy to guide you through it, answer any questions you have. 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. Be right back in a second.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
About 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll cut that last last commercial out. Nice.
If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee. Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know what your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages. There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group. And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working ridiculous amount of home buyers looking for homes here in the Myrtle Beach Grand Street area for $250,000 to $4.35 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Weekly buyer update. One thing we've been doing this show for, 8-9 years is we started saying, hey, look, let's put our money where our mouth is. I used to really show my website, have Dave read it out, but I've been doing that here lately. Right now, active buyers on the website with username, password account. These aren't people who just like hits. These are users that actually signed up with a username, password, who are searching the site actively right now. 70,928 active home buyers. That's 70,928 active home buyers from all over. And so I get the question a lot, say, what makes you different than anybody else? The reality is we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint all across the globe. You see us on radio, you see us on TV, you see us on the billboards, hear us on radio. You don't see we spend online tens of thousands of dollars driving traffic online. And what happens is we have buyers from all across the globe. And then what we do is we funnel those buyers to our sellers because that's what I'm in business to do, right? I'm in business to make money. If I match up a buyer and sell, that's what I'm here to do. That's what they hired us to do. And that's what makes us work better and sell properties faster and for more money. We also have technology that reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your home. So what we do is we take your home, We plug it into our system and it searches, reverse engineers of 70,928 buyers, and it finds the most likely ones to buy your property based on their previous search patterns, and it scores them highest to lowest based on 100. And so you have a 97% match, 95% match. And then what we do is reach out, call them, and say, hey, we got a brand new listing. It matches exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to take a look at it? And guess what? They do, because it's exactly what they want. And it's how we're able to be a lot more efficient, a lot more effective for our clients. And so right now on the site, I got Anthony from East Sacatet, New York. I got Sandy from Prospect, Connecticut. I got Holly from Myrtle Beach. I got George Bazo from Pawleys Island. I got Brent from Zanesville, Ohio. I got Salisbury, North Carolina, Payne, PA. I got Johnsonville, South Carolina, Staunton, Massachusetts, Deer Park, New York, Keensburg, New Jersey, Scranton, PA, Augusta, Georgia, Bronx, New York. So all over, we have a huge reach, and we target them online based on different demographics. And what I noticed a long time ago is people who saw value in what we have here in terms of real estate market were from up north. And so I was geo-targeting them really 10 years ago when other realtors were making fun of me, calling me the internet kid. And so that's what makes us a lot different. And so if you want to get your property sold for the most amount of money, you want to use the one who has the most buyers. And so reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. Real quick, shout out Tim and Megan. They had a home in Little River, wanted to sell. Tim was having some health issues. Didn't have to go up and down stairs anymore. They had met with some other investors, and realtors were not impressed at all. They said the other ones feel like they were slimy salespeople, especially the investors. And so thankfully, they referred to us. Instead of going through the traditional home sale process, they opted for our instant offer program. We gave them an instant offer on the spot that was fair, cash as is, whereas, and close as soon as they want to, which was in 2 weeks. We came in just closing that on Friday. Super happy on that. We posted their story and their photo on our blog. If you want to Google Sloan Realty Group blog, you can watch that and see that. We have a video up there with our testimonial where, guess what? We're licensed and we pay fair numbers. We don't these investors out there who just give these lowball offers and they may try to close and may not close. We see a lot of those who are wholesalers who aren't even really actually going to close your property. They're trying to find a new buyer. They tie your property up for 60 days. You can't do anything with it. And if they can't find a buyer, they just back out the last minute. You didn't realize that there's a small clause in their contract that allows them to get out of there. And so don't ever use anybody that's not licensed. They're just there to steal your equity, in my opinion. Also, Chuck owned an oceanfront condo. He used it as a rental property here in Myrtle Beach. We actually helped Chuck buy that property a few years ago. It's gone up massively in value. And so Chuck decided it's time to cash out an investment. He called us. We came in, showed him we had thousands of buyers looking for the exact type of property that he had, oceanfront condo. We designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had an offer right at asking price in just a couple of weeks. Here's the coolest part. Chuck almost doubled his money from when he bought the property just a few years prior. And so if you want to know more how our system works, get you the most amount of money, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. And here's the thing. Anybody you come across, do me a favor and say, look, they mention real estate. They smell like real estate. If they say anything, just do me a favor and say, we do, you got to call my buddy Blake Sloan. Save me in your phone as Blake Sloan Sold. That way you can just remember it. And it's 843-808-SOLD because we're here to serve you. 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime.